Hello, friends. Welcome to Pod Maverick After Dark. I'm Kirk Henderson, joined as always by Josh Bowe. We're talking to you a little before 10 o'clock on Thursday, January 23rd. The Dallas Mavericks just defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder for the third time this season, this time shocking the Oklahoma City Thunder with a true skeleton crew of Mavericks 121 to 115. Josh Bowe, how are you?
I'm doing good. Is it hyperbole to say I don't
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the appropriately named Pod Maverick Mavs Party. We're here. It's 10:30. It's Thursday night, January 23rd. If you listen to the show regularly, you know when I'm actually trying to do my job well, we host a secondary podcast where you can come participate, share your thoughts on the Mavs, and really about anything else basketball-wise that you want to talk about. I already got two people waiting, which is fantastic and makes me really delighted to do this. But if you are new to the show, here in the YouTube live stream, you can click. There's a pinned StreamYard link. You can access it from your phone. You can access it from your computer. It puts you in a waiting room where you will then be brought up here to talk with me about whatever Mavs stuff you feel like sharing, or in some cases, Brian, Roby, and I talking about Apple TV Plus. Let me see here. If you haven't listened to the recap show and you're listening on audio stream, please consider going back and listen to that recap show. If you want to join this show, come find us on YouTube. We are 30 people away from 3,500 YouTube subscribers. Doesn't seem like much because we're not a great big channel, but I every little bit helps, and we are grateful for the folks that help make our show great. Coming up first is my man Sudarshan, calling all the way in from India, which is my favorite thing about this show. Get people around the world. Sudarshan is also writing something for us tonight, so I should give him shit about that, but hey, I'm glad you're here. What's going on, man?
Hey, man. I mean, yeah, I'll apologize for the slight delay in the piece just to hang out after this win.
No, you should. This is what we watch this for fun. Like all this should be fun, and it's not been very fun lately, so everybody should revel in it.
No, I mean it's really weird how this zombie Mavericks team is turned into kryptonite for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
It feels great.
I mean, yeah, I was just expecting the entire third quarter to be like the Mavs go down by 20 after like Oklahoma City just rained down 3 after 3, but then it's like they turned the defense up, and in some sense that was aided by the refs sort of giving them a very favorable whistle.
I felt like they woke up a bit from their funk and attacked a little more, because one of the things Josh and I didn't talk about at all, and this is a bit of a mistake, is the Mavs ran a matchup zone that gave the Thunder some real problems, and SGA finally just sort of put his head down, and that helps because the Mavericks didn't really have great rim protection, and they were basically mucking it up, so the fact that the refs kind of tightened up their calls a little bit. It wasn't surprising. It was a home, but also they were just attacking more. So it goes both ways, in my opinion.
Yeah, that zone defense really screwed with the Thunder offense. I mean, it also helped that for 3 quarters SGA was missing his shots.
He missed some weird stuff tonight, didn't he?
He missed stuff that he would make in his sleep. But I guess he used up all his juice
tired
against the Jazz.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
And I mean, to some sense, to give him the benefit of the doubt, he's also playing with some wrist soreness, which is what made him sit out again last week against Dallas. So, I mean, but still, we take what we can get in this sort of doom scenario that we have going on right now. So,
Right.
I mean, it's like after the Thunder game, I was like, yes, let's time for Cooper Flag. And then after this game, I'm like, fuck it, we're playing for the playoffs. It's this weird
Well, there's a
state that we have to remain in.
there's a I don't know if this is actually a pirate saying, but it's a thing I say to my colleagues whenever work is bad. And the phrase is the beatings will continue until morale improves. And that's sort of how I feel about this Mavericks team, where they're just down so bad that they're gonna have to, like, the only way out of some shit is through it. And they have to keep playing. You know, there's a question that I'm going to address a little later in the pod that somebody asked. It's in, you know, if guys start coming back from injuries in a certain way and the Mavericks have not totally died on the vine, which is still possible, make no mistake, between now and All-Star break, then I think you have reason for a fair amount of optimism. And even if they're, you know, let's just say they're in the play-in range, you still got to love the puncher's chance that they have.
No, I mean, the worst case scenario, I think we've discussed it in the Slack. The worst case scenario for most top playoff teams in the West is to face a fully healthy Mavericks team who are horrible. Like the 8th seed, which would.
I'm not sure when you started watching the NBA, but I know
2000.
2000. Okay, so you are a long term. So anybody that's younger has heard tales of the 2007 Warriors team, but they basically got their lives together in the last 20 games of the year. They were I don't want to say just like this Mavericks team, but they were hyper talented. So they were not a traditional 8. So it's like, if we're down bad like that, I think there's something to our hopefulness about having a puncher's chance in a first round matchup like this.
Yeah. No, it's great. And also, one more point is that we after the loss, the last time when we were on the pod with David, we were discussing the fact that Kid barely does any coaching during the regular season. Look what happens when he actually coaches his ass off.
He was active tonight. He was like bouncing really around. It was great.
And it actually felt like the Mavs, I mean, like you and Josh were talking about on the recap, it felt like they ran sets. And it felt like it was a game plan set to play the Thunder's defense against them. Like it take advantage of how aggressive the Thunder are on defense. Like they switch in a flash. So I mean, in some sense, like they had a lot of pump fakes, a lot of drive-in kicks, in some sense, to take advantage of how out of position Oklahoma City constantly finds themselves with how quickly they switch, which is, I mean, it's fantastic. I get it that there's 82 games, and there's not a lot of time to actually set game plans, but it would be great for the Mavericks to actually take advantage of the fact that they're so depleted to actually game plan and put people in the best position. So it was great for that.
Really fun game. You got anything else?
No, I'm going to get back to writing the grades. Spencer Dinwiddie rebounds with an A+ after getting a D last night.
The Spencer experience is very emotional for me, and I can't talk about it in a rational way because I hate him so much. Like there's a movie that my wife and I watched when we were just first dating called 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, and
at the end of the movie, Julia Stiles is reading her poem about Heath Ledger, and it's like, I hate the way. I don't hate you, not even a little bit, not at all. And that's got it. When Spencer does stuff like this, it's like, oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, we can't get rid of the spirit of Tim Hardaway Jr. no matter what we try. Like Spencer's just
in a couple days, and I'm absolutely terrified, just terrified. So, all right, man. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah. Take care.
All right. So again, guys, if you're new to the show, you're hanging out in the chat down there and you got something to say, click on that StreamYard link and we can come and talk basketball. Coming up next is my man Brian. Brian, long time no chat, but that's entirely my fault. What's going on?
No, it's all good, brother. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thanks for checking.
Heck yeah. So, your Dallas basketball Mavericks have won a game.
Again,
Isn't that exciting?
Nice. Yeah, of the 5 games now. 5 games since Luka's been hurt. 2 of them are against the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Like I almost couldn't even enjoy this one because of the Charlotte loss a few days back. But all I had to do was scroll Twitter a little bit. I saw a couple of OKC fans that some of the teenagers chirping, and you know what? I'm gonna sit in this one. I'm gonna stew for a bit. We're not gonna have like much going on past this, I don't think. So I'm gonna enjoy this one because this was awesome. This was a tough, physical, especially in the second half, a physical ass kicking by the Dallas Mavericks and specifically the Dallas Mavericks front court players like Omac and PJ and even Kessler and Daniel Gafford were being super physical with those dudes, and they could not take it. They could not take it. They were getting wherever they wanted on those drives. They were driving and redriving, kicking out to the guards.
They are a team of fake tough guys.
It's and not even just fake tough guys. They're a team of short, skinny guys. That's the other thing. They don't like. I know they were missing iHeart or whatever. I don't care. We had 8 people on the injury report. I don't care about your injuries.
I really like Isaiah Hartenstein. He causes.
I think he's great.
But if he's your answer, the question is worse than you think.
Like, and obviously, like the true answer is okay, is him and Chet. But even then, man, look, I'm sorry, dude. Isaiah Hartenstein was not making like a huge difference for what was going on tonight. Like those dudes, Omax was putting his shoulder. He was catching the ball, and if he pump faked or just passed the open 3 because he did that a couple times and it was kind of annoying. But once he put that shoulder in whoever his defender was, and God bless Case and Wallace, man, he's 6'3". They got him guarding all types of small forwards and power forwards and shit he shouldn't be doing. Omax put that shoulder into that dude's chest. He turned that corner on him and was on his way to the rim. And all they tried to do all that foul and hacking shit they do on the way to the basket in most games, and they could not pry the ball out of Omax's hands. I will give him all the credit in the world for that. His hands were stone tonight in a good way. And he kept getting fouled and kept getting fouled and kept driving. And I was like, dude, that is the aggression we've got to play with against these dudes. That's how you put teams that small and that physically disadvantaged to bed, is you bludgeon them to death. So it was really, really fun to see that.
What else you got?
Good to see Grimes hit a couple. He's had a rough go, but the last, 4 games, but he hit a couple shots towards the end, and he and PJ were locked in on. This is the best defense PJ has played since he sprained his knee. The shot.
That's a great point.
Yeah, like he sprained his knee, and he hadn't been the same since. Like his rebounding numbers weren't really the same. The defense wasn't really there. It was a little bit more Matador defense than we were used to seeing from him. But it could have just been, the knee sprain on top of like all the guys being out and that wearing on him, and him still playing 36 minutes every single night. But he played 41 minutes on the second night of a back-to-back and looked like a star. So shout out to him. Shout out to Quentin Grimes. Shout out to Maxi Kleber. Shout out to all those dudes. They gave amazing effort tonight on the second of a back-to-back. And they put the boots to the 1 seed in a way that was super refreshing to see.
Feels good. So I have to ask you, even though we've DM'd about this, talk to me a little bit about Apple Plus. Was I right about it being a rewardingly weird television service?
Yeah, I still need to dig into some of the movies, but I have finished to this point. I am current on Severance, Mythic Quest, finished Ted Lasso, and I am midway through the first season or almost done with the first season of Shrinking now.
Ooh, shockingly weird and funny. I like that show.
You know what? I've never liked Jason Segel's face, so I didn't know how I was going to feel about it. I'm enjoying the show.
Harrison Ford cursing. That you get a lot of like Harrison Ford starts cursing, and you get a lot of.
It's also just seeing Harrison scoot around there and just be Harrison Ford. That's
Coffee Chest in
cool.
the chat. Slow Horses is a great show, as is For All Mankind. I just keep going with it. Once you're done with the series, you can cancel it for 6 months because they just don't have that many. But it's every show I've liked except for maybe 2. It's a great time.
Yeah, I'm running through all of these. Slow Horses is on the list. I think For All Mankind is also on the list. There's a ton of stuff on the list because you sent me the list. But yeah,
I did. That's right. I did that. I'm a pusher. I'm a pusher.
Look, man, it's good stuff. I appreciate it.
My favorite thing is my father asks me for recommendations and then takes none of them.
That's always fun.
Hey, man. Well, thanks for hanging out. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Yes, sir, dude. Thanks for having me.
All right. Okay, we're a little bit into the show. I got to make a pitch real quick. Guys, I've talked to you early and often about Body Spec. I would appreciate it if you would visit the link in the show notes. As I've talked to you about it over and over again, it is a company that provides a full body scan known as a DEXA scan. It can tell you a lot of information about where you are health-wise at a really shockingly affordable cost. Body Spec's competitors charge as much as $150. You can get it for the price that will really surprise you. I'm not supposed to read what that price is, but it's worth just looking into. So if you like supporting our show and are interested in what, this sort of thing could tell you, go get one. So go to the link in the show notes. I have gotten one. I get another one. What mine told me was that despite being what I felt like was very good shape, I had a lot of visceral fat, which is the fat that are like around the organs. And that's actually quite dangerous long-term. I'm 40 years old. I need to get my shit together. So I've made some changes to my health these last probably 3 weeks, and we're going to see if I can stay alive, which would be helpful. I'll probably insert some ads here too, and then I will be right back. I got 2 more guys, one of my longtime friends who I've not talked to very much this season, if at all, and then another friend down in New Zealand. So, all across the world here. We will be right back. Welcome back. This is Pod Maverick Mavs Party. I scared him. My long-term Dodang who's been listening to my show here for what I feel like is like 5 years. How you doing, my man? What's going on?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm glad to be alive. Let's just say.
Yeah. So honestly, I was thinking about you at the show the other night, and I actually asked the chat. I was like, anybody seen him? And so for you to pop up the next day makes me quite delighted. So talk to me. What's going on? What do you think of this win? Have you been watching the Mavericks very much, or have you just been kind of like, ugh?
I've been watching them, but kind of watch them like kind of half-heartedly. Let's just say, just some of these losses just beat the crap out of me, and been a little busy with my health too, so I had to get some of my rest. But the thing that I like and that I loved, and I just wish the formula would always stay, is please keep on attacking the paint. This year, they've set a record for paint attempts. 11 games where they went in the paint, 30 times or more or something like that?
Great. Harp was engaged in the game. Like, you could tell they were doing some right stuff because Harper was calling stuff out. And there's been games the last 2 months where he's very bored on the broadcast. And so he was talking about paint touches. It was really good to see.
Yeah, it had the feeling of hatred between the two. And I think some of the game also turned when Dort had that little shot below the belt right there. That turned the game, in my opinion, and really spiced it up a different level. The intensity really got shot up on our defense. And I just don't understand, these guys, the formula of success has always been touch the paint, and if you don't get a good shot, you can get fouled or you can kick it out.
The Thunder don't have any big men right now that you're afraid of. It's one thing if Chet's there, but it's like, okay, he's not. So just keep going. And they've done it. So the fact that they've won this season series 3 out of 4 is absolutely hilarious to me.
Yes, it's absolutely hilarious too that they're short because they had a chance to take Derek Lively and they gave him away to us, and they picked up Bertrands. I'm still so happy about, even though Lively's hurt. Oh my God.
That trade has worked out. And honestly, they had a chance to go for Gafford too in deadline, and they we ended up, we owe we sent them a pick. There's some pick thing that's going to come home to roost at the worst possible time, but not today. So I'm not too worried about it at the moment.
But I'm so scared because they have a treasure trove of ones, high ones. What are they hoarding them for? I don't understand. Do you?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
It's
they
really
could use
something.
another big. They could use a big four. They could always use, bigger forward, small forward, and another center.
Mhm.
It just shows you their weakness. Through and through. Big teams, physical teams can out physical them.
And I just sort of have the opinion too that they played so well and it's such a high level for 40 games now. I question whether they have that extra step to get to, because honestly, watching some of the games they played, they've been outstanding this year. And I've thought to myself repeatedly, like, you can't, like, how do you play better than this? It's really something.
Well, I think one thing if they could do is pick up another late game scorer or shooter, somebody with a little more veteran experience toward the end of games. That would make them extremely dangerous. But I don't know what they're waiting for. I was a little afraid that they may go after Butler.
They're the only thing I think I've heard is they're gonna really make a push for the guy with the Nets, Cam. My brain is broken.
Oh, he used to play for Phoenix.
So we will see what they do. But
right. Or if they pick up Trey Murphy, the guy that I want from New Orleans, that would scare me.
Yeah, that dude's awesome. Campaign. There we go. Campaign. No, not Campaign. Cam Johnson. Sorry, brain broken. Cam Johnson up at the Nets, who's shooting the ball aggressively. So, you got anything else for us, my friend?
No. Just glad to be back, and hopefully I can make some more of these. And
well,
glad you're doing okay. You guys are doing great.
I took like a month off because Christmas happened, the baby, everybody, my kids were home 24 out of 26 days. And I was starting to feel, just because of holiday stuff and illness. And I was like, I can't stay up till 1 a.m. and then get up with my kids at 6. I'm too old for it now. When I was pre-children, it's like, whatever, he's a zombie through the next day. Can't do it now. But yeah, man, thanks so much for hanging out. We'll talk soon. Okay.
All right. Great seeing you, Kirk.
You too, buddy. All right. Last but not least is my man, Rain. What's going on, Rain?
Hey there, Kirk. I'm going to be honest. This is probably the first fourth quarter I've watched all the way through in quite a while.
Just turned it off. You're like, I'm not doing it.
Just straight up turn it off. Like, again, in my time zone, it's the middle of the day. There's so many other things to do. And when the game is just not that compelling, it's so hard to keep it on. Or even with my partner, she's like, why are you still watching? They're doing nothing but making you angry. And I'm like, yep.
That's a good point.
I'm going to go do something else.
No, season's too long. Sometimes you just got to walk away.
I'm on a bit of a high, obviously, after that game. I mean, I think it's official that whenever we play OKC, that PJ is the MVP of the team. It's I think the only loss we've had to them this season, PJ didn't play. Ironically, Luka did in that one.
Yeah, I mean, the 3 wins without Luka is just ridiculous.
I think, and this is probably going to be a relatively hot take, I think this is just a good matchup for us at this point. I couldn't really tell you why. I'm not going to claim to be the savant that knows all the ins and outs of basketball, but overall, I'm still really cool. Like, I know we're on a high. Sorry to bring the show down at the end, but I'm still just so concerned about Luka. Like, when he finally comes back, is he going to come back and look like he did last season, or is he going to come back and look like he did at the beginning of the season? If he comes back and he looks good, I will take this team to the moon, even without Lively. Sure. But if not, it's concerning. It is concerning with like, it's just freak injury after freak injury after freak illness after anything that can go wrong seems to go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And Partially why I haven't been in any of these spaces. I know you haven't really.
I haven't
doing
even
them.
hosted them for the same reasons, where it's just like I don't want to do this, and you know, I'm trying to will them to a certain extent back to a more positive vibe, and you know, a game like this certainly goes a long way. So,
Out,
oh, there you go. It cut out for a second. I don't know why.
Yeah, sorry about that. My headphones completely just disconnected from my phone. Yeah, I'm just Kyrie's back, but if we can just get a couple more games like this, not drop too far in the standings, and if we can just get Luka back healthy and he can have just if they can get back to that crazy pace, and hopefully with Luka back, with the rest of the guys healthy, even if it's not Lively, but let's say Lively's still out the 2-3 months, whatever. If just about everyone else can stay healthy, Luka might not actually have to expend everything he's got left in the tank by the time they get to the playoffs, have a healthy playoffs, hopefully not be in the play-in. Who knows? Maybe versing the Thunder in the first round is the best thing that they could possibly hope for by being in the play-in. Who knows?
Well,
so
this is worth bringing this up because somebody earlier in the chat, Twitter handle The Chosen One asked, Luka's getting reevaluated on Saturday. What does that mean exactly? I don't have a good answer. I will simply say that my take would be they're going to look at him, look at the schedule, look at him, see how things go, and they should try to push this as long as they can. Bringing him back early would be quite, this is straightforward. Could be catastrophic to the rest of their hopes. And so I think this is just my guess. So they play Boston Saturday, they reevaluate Luke on Saturday, whatever. I think that they would probably reevaluate him come on a weekly basis until he's able to come back. Let's just go ahead and chalk the Celtics game at home in Dallas, 4:30 p.m. start time as a loss. Let's just do that for the sake of argument. Then they play 3 games in a row that are like vital, I think, to what we're talking about here. They go Washington, New Orleans, Detroit. Washington is a rollover team they should destroy. New Orleans and Detroit are playing good basketball, but they are winnable games. I think if the Mavericks were to go on a little mini 3-game run, that will then sort of set the cushion for the rest of the pre-All-Star break games. Because they play Cleveland, the broken Sixers, Boston, Houston, Sacramento, Golden State, Miami, New Orleans, and then Miami. That's the last game before All-Star break. So if they can go into I don't want to say momentum because momentum's insane, but if they could go in just not with their tail tucked between their legs, that would go a long way for me.
Honestly, when it comes to bringing Luka back, they're saying, he may, the goal is to bring him back just before All-Star break. I'm like, at that point, why not just sit him out a couple more games, give it the rest of the All-Star break, really ramp him up over that time, and hit the ground running? At the end of the day,
I suspect that's what they want to do. It just that's what I mean. The longest break pot, but I don't really know. I mean, we're not going to get any concrete information. We're just not. It's going to be very frustrating.
This is a point. I'm vaguely aware that the medical staff has changed substantially.
Sure.
And maybe I'm misremembering, but is it just me, or have the Mavericks have always been rather ambiguous about what information they do put out regarding injured players?
Teams are getting worse about that.
It feels like it's substantially worse than it was in the past, especially with Kyrie, such conflicting bulging disc, back strain, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
Where do we stand? Because, if that's a bulging disc, that's a lifetime kind of thing. And it's that kind of, again, not to be a downer, it kind of puts, a bit of a time, it kind of speeds up that clock that Kyrie's got at his age. If those are the kind of things that generally just get worse over time.
Well, Josh and I talked about this a little bit last night during the show, where we came into the season with high hopes, but we never addressed kind of the lingering frailty that was around the edges of because it's not, Clay's always been a guy that plays a lot of games. Kyrie's had odd injuries, but and he's in his millionth year. So there's just those two were kind of staring us in the face, and I don't think we talked about it enough in the preseason. But they also built a roster that they had hoped could withstand some of this. It's just you can't really ever expect to be without Luka for as many games as they're going to end up being without. Like that just blows up your whole plan no matter what you do.
It certainly does. And I mean, if Exum was back, which there was an update that he's still a significant amount of time away from returning.
We've passed the 3-month mark that Shams tweeted about in early October. We're way off. Like whatever's wrong with him it's just not progressing the way that it should, and they're not going to tell us about it.
Certainly not. But that's what I'm saying. If we just had one more ball handling guard, we might have fared a little bit better. Obviously, you can never be prepared to lose both your supermax players. Like, no, if Boston, say, lost both Tatum and Brown, like, what are they going to do? They're going to drop for sure. Losing Chet, losing SGA, or Hartenstein, SGA, any top team that loses its two superstars at the same time is going to lose some games.
Yep.
No team can survive that. But this is definitely still one of the deepest teams that they've had. But like you said, you can't design a team to be fully functional without its two superstars. If you think about it, like how much, if you just think about how many dollars of the team's cap that is, it's crazy. It's ridiculous.
So they've fared okay. It's just it's some of the games they've won make no sense versus some of the games they've lost that make no sense.
That's been the Luka Mavs of the past. It's they win the games they shouldn't, and they lose the layups.
That's right, man. That's right.
So yeah, a bit of deja vu, but not too much else for me. I'm just glad that we can have this little victory over the OKC. I'm keen for this matchup in the playoffs, assuming we make it.
Yeah, it feels kind of destined to a certain extent. So, well, hey, I appreciate you joining the show. Let you get back to your day. Thanks so much. Okay.
No worries. Thanks, Kirk. See you there.
All right. This has been a good show. Just over an hour between both of them. Thanks so much for spending some of your time with me. If anybody else wants to join, I'll keep talking for a minute or more. But then I'm going to go get stuff edited and go to bed. Mavericks play Boston on Saturday. Josh and I will have probably a show at around like 8 or 9, I would guess, just because the game will end right around the time we're putting our kids to bed. So, I don't know. Great win. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Everybody be good. Talk soon. Go Mavs.